Hello designers, today is going to be a fun quick tutorial about image tracing. Image tracing is when you ask the computer to do the work for you by tracing a scanned in image or drawing. Best case scenario, you're scanning in your own image or your own drawing. Or I'm also going to show you how you can, in a pinch, copy and paste from the internet. To get started, we're going to go to File, New. I want you to make sure that you have this set up at 8.5 by 11 inches. With one artboard, and I want you to double check that your color mode is CMYK. Now we're going to have probably some issues with black and white here later, but I will show you how to correct that. But this is just saying, hey, this is going to be a color document, and click Create. Let's immediately save this by going to File, Save As, saving it on the computer. Let's go to our Print Shop folder in your lessons, and I would like you to call it Image Trace and click Save. So stop the video and do that now. Alright, so to place a scanned in image, you first have to scan the image in or take a photo of the image. So this works with any image file, and we have to start by placing it into the document. So we go to File, Place. I'm going to have you place one of my previous students' documents, so we're going to go to Courses, double click on Art, double click on Print Shop. We're going to go into Scans, and you're looking for the file that says Rocket Don't Delete. As you'll see, there may be other line drawings in here. Rocket Don't Delete, that's the one you want. It's going to look like nothing happened, but if you notice, you've got a cursor with this little object hovering around. You're going to click, it's going to add it to your page. And then we need to resize this thing. So we're just going to hold down the Shift key as we drag one of the corners to make it a little bit smaller. And then I want you to move it into the gray space. Right? Stop the video and do that now. Alright, so rather than having to try and trace this with the pen tool, which you may have already learned or you will be learning soon, you will find is not the easiest thing to do. So if you have a very simple drawing or a black and white image that you can have, that the computer can see definite edges of, I would always try image trace first. If nothing else, it kind of speeds things up. You can image trace and then you can alter it later. To image trace, we're going to go up to Object. You have to make sure your object is checked, so in this case, a placed image. And you're going to go to Image Trace, and you're going to Make and Expand. Click OK to this dialog box that pops up. And then now you'll notice they are objects that Illustrator has made editable. Is that a word? Yeah, let's go with that. But right now it's grouped, so how do we ungroup it? Right, we're going to unclick and go to Ungroup. We're going to click on that white space that's around it. Now I could change the color, or I could just delete it. All right, so go ahead and delete that background space. Now we're going to click and drag the entire rocket over here. We're going to rotate this. You can rotate it however you want. I don't care. And we're going to color this thing. The first thing I'm going to show you is that when you click on the shapes, you can change the color by double clicking on your color picker in front. This should be a review. Now something funny is going to happen here. So let's pick a color, something other than black, white, or gray. But when you do, it turns gray. And here's why. Even though when we set up the document as a CMYK document, meaning color, once we place a black and white image, the computer thinks, Illustrator thinks that we want to work in black and white, but we don't. So the way we have to do this is you have to go to your file cabinet. We have to open up the color panel if it's not already open. So open up your color panel. And we need to click on the drop down, and notice it's checked on RGB. We don't want it. We want to go to either CMYK or RGB. Let's go to CMYK. Notice it now has a color. I'm not going to lie, guys. It might do this again. So if I click on the nose, if I go to select a different color, notice it still does it. I'm going to do this again. Once you do it a few times, the computer finally gets the hint and it's like, oh, it's supposed to be a color image. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes if it keeps doing this, what I would do if it's kind of a pain, you've like tried it 3 times and it doesn't convert, what I would do is I would save this. I would close this and then I would reopen it, because then it's going to, you shouldn't have any problems with it anymore. So now if I click, let's see, hopefully it will not be silly. Nope, still does it. Again, it's just going to take time. Once you do it a few times, it should stop. See, it made me a liar. Stupid Illustrator. Okay, it's just one of the pains. It is what it is. So go ahead, stop the video, and I want you to go ahead and play around. You can color your rocket however you see fit. All right, one last thing I want to do is I want to show you that the lines themselves are objects. So if you click on that outline, you can change the outline to some color other than black, which of course I want to gray, because it does not want to get the hint today. Hopefully yours is responding better than mine is right now. Why do I keep going with red? There we go. Now we got our weird green outline. All right, so change the color of your outline, and then we're almost done. All right, select all of these objects. Once you have them colored, again, you can have as much fun as you want. You can draw extra things. I don't care. The important thing is you learned how to image trace. We're going to group these things back together. We're just going to move them over to the side. Okay. Now I want to show you image tracing stolen, and I do preface by saying stolen because technically this is plagiarism. If you were a designer and you did this and you made money off of it, or you sold it to a client, you could get into some really big legal trouble if you don't make significant changes because of copyright law. But we're in education. It's okay for us to do it. So we're going to go to Google. So pull up Google, and I want you to search Apple illustration. And we're going to go to images. Now I'm going to show you a couple things here. When you are finding an image to trace, it needs to be something that has very clearly defined edges. I'm going to show you what happens when you go with something that doesn't. So I'm going to click on this one here. Just watch me do this. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back to Illustrator. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to do that image trace. Notice how you do, it does turn into kind of like a jumbled up mess. I'm also going to show you if you don't have clear edges, see how I lost that inside once I delete that outside. So when you are trying to find something from the internet, like you just need a quick apple, you're going to make some alterations, you want it to be as simple as possible. Like something like this works really well. If you want something that is a little bit more natural looking, you can do that, but try to find one that is vector in nature. Like something like this might work okay, but the values are pretty close together. Let's see what Illustrator does with this. Let's see how it does. Yeah, see, so again, it doesn't have a good differentiation. So what I want you to do, I want you to just keep going back to the internet. I want you, until you finally find, you know what, if you don't want to do apple, if you want to do another fruit, maybe I'll try something else that might, let's try banana. So just a fruit, I don't care. Pick a fruit, any fruit from the internet, paste it in there, resize it, object, image trace, make and expand. There we go, that's pretty good. All right, and then just want you to ungroup it. If you have any little extra little things out here, like I have this little text here, just highlight it, delete it, and then color your fruit. Move it on here, save it, and then export a file so that you can attach it to the lesson in Google Classroom, and you are done with image tracing.